Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the GameWisp Weekly Podcast, Episode 9, Part 3.
Part 3.
And today, by today I mean at this particular moment, we're going to talk about Nintendo's revenue share program, their new deal for content creators, and why it's just a new pile of horrible.
It is horrible.
Yeah, that's not new news to anyone that's kind of kept abreast of this latest gaming video controversy and a string of gaming video controversies, because there's always a new one.
Always a new one.
And it's not really that shocking. Numerous people have covered this. We've seen, PewDiePie's opinion. We've seen Jimquisition's opinion. We've seen
Total Biscuit.
Why did I blank on that? We've seen, even smaller channels like Geek Remix who are featuring Kotaku. We've seen their opinion, and the opinion from large to small is this is a terrible, terrible idea.
Right.
And I want to enumerate the reasons why it's a terrible idea. Briefly, other places have covered it. You've seen it by now, or you can see it discussed much more eloquently by others. But I want to do that through the lens of, through this thought experiment. Like, is there a fair deal?
Right.
Is there a scenario where the content creators and the publishers can both kind of come to a fiscally fair outlier, a fiscally fair outcome, because it's easy if you're a content creator, like on Jimquisition's stance on this. He basically said, I'm going to show Devolver Digital games because Devolver Digital lets you monetize whatever you want. Yeah. And I like Devolver Digital. They're great.
And if you're a game publisher, you should be like Devolver.
Like Devolver. And it was, and the point he was making here was like, look, they tell me I can monetize without any penalty from them. I say they're great. Everybody wins.
Right.
Is that enough?
Right.
I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah. If you're a game publisher, is it enough for a Let's Player or reviewer to tell you that, or to tell his or her fans that you're great? I don't know. Because you can't put a dollar amount on that, right? Like, for example, when we look at Dying Light, which was recently released, and we can see billboards across the country plastered with Dying Light.
Right.
And who's the quote from? It's
PewDiePie.
not... Yeah, it's PewDiePie, right? It's not Rock, Paper, Shotgun. It's not, Electronic Gaming Monthly. Do they even exist anymore? I don't know.
In our hearts.
Yeah, but the idea is it's PewDiePie, right? Yeah. It's a Let's Player. Yeah. And that is who they're using on their billboards to drive sales.
Right.
And, it's almost like, we're going to see him on a Wheaties box before long, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's this idea that, now we're leveraging celebrity to drive the sale of these games. But what does that mean fiscally?
Right. And not just across, a few top-level celebrities, but the, hundreds of thousands of gaming channels on YouTube. Because, you look at, like, traditional celebrities, there's a number you can really get your mind around about who is a A-level star, right, or B-level star.
Yeah, I've got 500,000 subs, so I'm good, but I'm not great.
Right,
I've got 5 million subs.
Right,
I'm doing fine.
For sure. And you look at somebody who's leveraging a traditional celebrity to promote something. You've got your Rihanna, you've got your Justin Timberlake, you've got your Tom Hanks, LeBron James, or whatever. They have a huge following. And there's only a certain amount of people that are that size. But then the content that's being promoted on the Let's Player side is being promoted by people who have 100 followers on YouTube and 32 million followers on YouTube. How do you calculate the ROI for somebody who has 32 million versus the marketing return on investment for somebody who has 2,000 subscribers?
Well, and should you? Is there a difference, right? A sub is a sub. PewDiePie has 11 bajillion and you have 1,000, but together you're 11 bajillion and 1,000, right? And so should we even differentiate? Because we know when looking in this space, you have to dive deeper than just how many subscriptions somebody has. Sure.
Because that doesn't necessarily translate to how many people watch this video or engage with the video.
How many people buy the game.
Right. And so, and there's mechanisms even in YouTube that almost prevent an easy way to collect that data, because you can only, in annotations, only link to a particular small set of sites. You can't just put an Amazon affiliate link in your video that says buy this and I get some money. You can't do that. You could put it in the description or whatever. And so, in a perfect world, you could have a marketer give a game out to somebody, and then they play that game, and then they track exactly who bought it based on that
Yeah,
particular
who
video.
moved through from the video page, right?
Right.
And I mean, you can put links in an about page,
Sure.
in the description of the video or whatever, but like how often does that work? It's buried,
Right.
you know, or is it that it's buried or that it's true conversion?
Right.
You know, who knows?
And so what happens is that there is one sure way that they know money and engagement is happening through the gaming video, and that's ad revenue.
Yeah.
You know, and so what does Nintendo do? They come in and say, you know, we're gonna take some of your ad revenue.
Yeah, because that's a sure thing,
Yeah.
right? If you promote Mario Kart 11 or whatever, like we don't know what that means. Like
Yeah.
even if you have 100 million people, maybe only 5 buy the game. Like that means nothing to us.
Right.
Like you know, we'd have a better luck putting out ads in a magazine,
Sure.
or you know, or banner ads on IGN. You know, and so they know though that one, this is their content to
Right.
an extent, right? It's their game you're playing.
Right.
So why not jump on the back of a sure thing? Because
Yeah.
if you get a view, that's money.
Yeah.
A view that converts to a sale might not happen as often.
Right, and you can't track it as we
Yeah.
talked about. And so on the surface, you look at something like a revenue share on top of the ad revenue, and that makes sense to a YouTuber because
Sure.
that's that's the way MCNs work, that's the way YouTube works, that's the way sometimes maybe even brand partnerships sometimes work that way.
YouTubers think in percentages.
Right, and so on the surface level, you say, okay, a publisher whose game I'm using is getting some percentage of the revenue that I get from ads. On the surface, that doesn't seem so bad, but
It's their content. You can
Yeah.
justify it, right? I mean, sure, you took a long time recording it, playing it, editing it, adding your commentary, your
Right.
insight, making it engaging to your audience. But it was, it's their Mario
Right.
at the end of the day. So,
So
yeah, maybe they're entitled to a
in
little bit of a
some
scratch.
part of your
Yeah.
brain, you can justify that. But what does Nintendo do?
Nintendo takes a huge portion.
Right.
Nintendo says we're gonna give you when the dust settles, we're gonna give you 60% per video, or if you decide to let us take control of your entire channel, we'll give you 70%.
Right.
So, what does this mean? And
Ridiculously.
Total Biscuit had a breakdown, right? He said,
Yeah.
well, if you got $100 and you're splitting with YouTube and you're splitting with MCN and now you're splitting with Nintendo, and,
Yeah.
you're talking about PayPal fees for interchange.
Yeah.
Suddenly, at the end of the day, you're walking away with like $20, right?
Yeah.
It got appalling when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. But like even more appalling is the size of the cut that Nintendo wants out of that pie.
Right.
And it's really, as you walk away, it's too large.
Yeah.
And the terms are too vague.
Right.
Like, is Nintendo taking the money before YouTube, after YouTube, before the MCN, after the MCN? We don't even know.
Yeah.
And also, how much are they taking? Well, they're taking, 30 to 40% right now.
Yeah.
But the contract says it can be changed arbitrarily
Right.
later.
Yeah.
And so what does that even, like, no, it's a terrible, terrible deal.
Right. That's my favorite term of it, which is just like, we're going to take this much, but we may decide later to just
Take it
take
all?
all of it,
Who
or
cares?
maybe we'll reduce it, but we're probably not because we're a business. So it's not a smart thing to agree to as a YouTuber.
I think and I think this is the worst possible way you can approach this, and I think it demonstrates from Nintendo's perspective that they just do not understand this
Yeah.
world. They
Yeah.
understood, one, this is our content. 2, this market deals in percentages. Let's
Right.
take a percentage for our content. I think
Yeah.
that was like the A to B to C that got
Right.
us to the end result. And you have to take a minute and step back, and you have to say, one, you can take the Devolver Digital route and say, well, we know this provides value.
Right.
We may not know exactly what it is,
Right.
but we're just going to let you do your thing
Yeah.
and hope that that benefits us in some way down the line.
Right.
And maybe it will, and it probably does.
Yeah.
Or you can say, no, we're going to take money directly from the ad revenue.
Yeah.
So I think there's a middle ground here, and I want to go down that path and try to discover is there some solution, some compromise that makes sense for everybody.
Sure.
And I think you agree with me. In fact, I know you agree with me because we've had this conversation before.
Sure.
But I think that solution lies in data.
Yeah.
I really do. I think we're not going to have a clear-cut way to know what a fair shake is, both
Yeah.
from the publisher perspective and the creator perspective.
Right.
We're not going to know what the fair shake is until we can wrap that around some data.
Right.
Until we can say, oh man, PewDiePie's video about Mario Party 11, that got 10 million views, and suddenly I had an affiliate link, people clicked through, and I sold 100,000 copies.
Right.
That's a
right
big
there.
deal.
That's
Yeah,
a big
right
deal,
there.
right?
And that is video to engagement to data to sale.
Right.
Right.
And that's in the end, you look at data like that and say that was the scenario. They gave a copy to PewDiePie, more than likely. He played the game, and they sold 100,000 copies. You're talking, another what is that, $5 million that came from that particular advertising method, right? And so if you give PewDiePie, $5,000 from
or
that video,
$50,000,
you know, whatever it is, like, is that the marketing percentage spend of that particular, that exercise was like, a negligible percentage of the amount that you made based on that, advertisement mechanism. And so that whole process is unknowable right now.
Yeah.
And so we need
even
data.
Even if it was knowable, it wouldn't be perfect.
Right.
But it gives you a much clearer picture than we have today.
Right.
Because you can take that same data and apply it at any scale across the board. You can say, okay, you've got 1,000 subs on YouTube. Dude, I'm not paying you any money. You got 1,000 subs. Even if you convert all 1,000, it's not a huge deal. But I'll give you the game for free.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll let you monetize it. Because I have this data that says people in your size that play this kind of game typically convert around this percentage. And so I know that if you monetize it and I give you the game, I'm going to make my money back.
Yeah.
Easy. And so like it's that processing that has to happen, and we have to get there, and the answer has to come from data. Is YouTube going to do it? I don't know. Probably not. One, I think gaming's pretty niche, even on YouTube. On YouTube, gaming is pretty niche.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of work to go through to generate data for one particular niche on your platform.
Right.
So I don't think it's coming from YouTube.
Yeah. It may come from another place. It may come from, game companies themselves coming in and trying to like get better metrics around these things.
Right.
But I think that's really important to this thing going forward. You look at the response again, like we've said, across different developers, and you see people. It's kind of reminds me of sort of like the music industry response to streaming and online distribution, and then like the movie industry's response to like Netflix and these things, where they're just sort of like, these old big companies are like, oh my gosh, how can we stop this? Like, how can we get part of the revenue for this? Like, this is, hugely destructive to our business model, blah, blah, blah. Whereas these younger companies are very much like, just, we watch it, we like it, this is how we consume it, go ahead and do it.
How do we exist in this?
Yeah, or even like, it's interesting too that like a company like Nintendo doesn't necessarily need you to play their games. Like, they're still going to sell a bajillion copies of Mario Party 27 or whatever we're on, or Mario Kart 12 when that comes out on the Wii U or whatever that.
Wii U 2.
That's good too. It's the Wii U 2. It's forced on every home.
It just shows up at your house,
into your living room, and you can't get rid of it. It's like it's
bolted to the floor.
It's like a Ouija board. It comes back every now. Anyway. And the company themselves doesn't necessarily need you to promote them. I don't know how that factors in either, because they're not beholden to us. So like, we like to be entertained by this, so they are required to allow us to play them. But at the same time, the like influence is moving from the game company to the Let's Players to a lot of extent.
I mean, they're the marketing division now, and I think I don't know Nintendo. I don't know anyone at Nintendo, right? But you look at their program, and it almost feels like it came from that place, like a place of hubris. That's like, we're Nintendo, man. Like, you should thank us for providing the content for you to do this, and you should thank us by giving us a percentage of your money. Right, that's the gratitude.
A huge percentage.
Pay your tithe. And.
It's unfortunate.
Well, and this backlash is just going to show. Like, even if that is the perspective you have as a game producer or publisher, like, it doesn't work. You can't do that anymore. People will just stop playing your games. They'll play something else. They'll play indie games that are grateful for the coverage. And get on with their lives. So I think Nintendo is going to have to change their perspective. I don't know if they will.
It's hard to say. I think they're exploring some of this, and we may see in 6 months from now that we have this wrong about their approach, in that they're trying this and then they iterate and try something else and try something else. I don't have a lot of faith that that's what's happening, but you may see that, because I think we'll see. We'll see about them. I don't know. I think Microsoft does a really good job of that. They like try stuff, and then if there's a backlash, they adjust and then try it later. You look at how the Xbox One was launched and how they iterated, and are like, okay, we're gonna take over the living room, but really now we're about gaming, and we're like focusing on gamers, and all of our features are gaming related because that
living room thing didn't work out.
Right. And it's great for the living room, but that's not. You're not gonna sell it to like our parents because it like does your cable TV through it. You know,
Yeah,
like people, it's the gamers that are driving that. And so I think Nintendo doesn't often show that flexibility to try and like iterate like a startup would or something around that particular issue. So I don't have a lot of faith, but you know, at the same time, 6 months, a year from now, things will be different, you know, and either the backlash will set in or less people will let's play Nintendo games. And I think that just hurts the whole medium, you know, to have a big player like this, one of the big three, come in and say, sorry, you know, we're just going to drop a bomb and how this works for everybody.
I mean, it's not going away, right? And you figure out how to coexist, right? Then their first stance was, well, we're just going to content ID and take everything down.
Right.
Aha, look at that.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't work, so they have this program and it still sucks. And maybe they'll try something else in 6 more months and that'll suck.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe eventually they'll get to something. I think what they'll get to is like throwing their hands up and just saying, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
How you know, let's just let this happen. Because it's not hurting us. And that's what I don't get. People are not buying your game because they watch a Let's Play of it. Like, it's not hurting you. You just want a piece of it.
Right.
I don't know. It's a complicated issue.
It is,
for sure. And I hope there is a world, you know, like we've said, I hope there's a world where there can be some kind of like mutually agreeable solution.
Right.
I think the right solution is the one that makes neither side happy.
Right.
Because that's how we're going to know it was a compromise.
That's right.
But, you know, I hope we can get there. I think we're going to get there with data, with understanding, with the maturing of the medium even further. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what it looks like.
Yeah, but for now, don't join this program.
Yeah, it's
our opinion,
idea, guys. It's a terrible idea.
You know, and I don't know what the exact answer is, but this is not good for you as a Let's Player, and we recommend against joining it.
Yeah, the GameWisp philosophy is always to bet on yourself. That's why we build tools to help you bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, so. We hope for a world where you won't have to think in splits anymore. You won't have to think in ratios and percentages, but in terms of what your content is worth and what your fans are worth and what that engagement is worth. You know, like any normal, sane business. You know,
that's right.
And so we hope the industry can get there. We hope that we're progressive in thinking that way, but we're not the only people that end up thinking that way. So yeah, I mean. The industry as a whole, I think, will be benefited from moving in that direction. And I think the backlash against Nintendo in this case is just a stepping stone in that direction.
Yeah, for sure. And so hopefully it continues the discussion around content, discussion around who the value proposition is, or not the value proposition, but the center of value, I guess.
Yeah.
And, you know, like Twitch has found out and like YouTube's starting to find out that the content creator is the person who's really the most valuable thing here, not the IP, not the game itself, and so you know we'll continue to push on that from our end as well. So I guess that's our take on the Nintendo system.
Yeah. I guess we should wrap up. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What's up with us?
What are we doing?
Let's get existential for a minute.
No, you know, so we've got a couple of things that we can talk about what we're doing. Number one, like what we're doing. Event-wise coming up, you know, that's a big part of what we do during the conference season. We're going to be at the
kiss
conferences.
The babies, shake the hands.
That's exactly right. So we're going to be at PAX East coming up in just a few weeks now. That's in Boston.
Can I go to that one, boss?
Yes. You're going. You get to sit in a car as we drive. 18 hours up there or whatever.
Awesome.
So we'll take the crew from PAX South and sprinkle a little Eli on it.
And it always makes it taste better.
That's right. And we'll take PAX East by storm. Hopefully, we learned a lot about what the booth should be at South. We talked about that a little bit at the top of this podcast, and so we're gonna spend a lot of time leveraging those lessons in our booth. We got a little bit of a bigger space this time. We're hoping to have a lot more people coming in to meet with their fans and do autograph sessions and spend some time with us and with their fans in our space. So, you know, we'll say, like, if you're watching this, you're a content creator and you want to, you know, take some time with us and you know, meet up with your fans in our booth, we'd love to have you. It's a safe space. There's carpet.
Or just come hang out.
Yeah, come hang out with us.
We want we want our booth, I think now and going forward, to be very creator focused.
Yeah.
And it's not just because Twitch and all the other cool kids are doing it. It's because it's generally a good idea. And one, we want to meet you guys. We want you to know us. We desperately want you to like us. So swing by.
Yeah, and we want to be able to give you a demo of what we're building at GameWisp. We want to be able to sort of answer any of your questions live. We know that your content, your channel is really valuable to you. And I think we can hopefully communicate in person maybe better than an email how much we respect and respect that fact, and we're building tools to help grow your channel, help grow your interaction with your fans, and we'll have a lot of cool stuff on display because we are making a lot of cool stuff right now.
We are.
So yeah, come check us out. We'll have more information in future podcasts and on our social media accounts about what we're doing, where we're going to be in the conference hall or in the expo hall, and we'd love to have you stop by, whether you're a viewer or a channel. So.
For sure. So I think that wraps up this weekly podcast. This is the end, the conclusion, the final moment of the GameWisp Weekly Podcast, Episode 9. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back next week from a location that's currently unknown.
That's right. Could be here, could be somewhere else. Who knows?
Could be anywhere.
We enter the wonderful, vast world of double digits next week with Episode 10.
Episode 10.
So that's cool.
So check us out.
We've actually made it this far. That's pretty amazing.
I just thought there'd be like a half episode where we'd give up.
Well, Episode 1 was so amazing.
It was, and someday we'll release that.
That's right.
But yeah, so that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We hope we keep entertaining you. We hope to see you around next week. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments.
That's right. And then don't forget to like or subscribe.
Or don't, man. It's your life, bro. Do what you got to do. All right.
That's right. See you next week.
Later.